We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. Can you see us? Tell us that you can see us and hear us and all that stuff. We're here. Hey, tariffs hitting hard. Benji says the tariffs are hitting hard. Hey, man. That was pretty clever, actually. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. I don't know where you all lost us at, but what were we doing what were you saying? I think you were talking whenever we got knocked out there.
Yeah, more so just kind of going over the list. I was jumping on your boy Bevo, man. What's up, King Family React said, welcome back. I was trying to figure out what his angle was with this not believing in Garrett Nussmeier. I mean, of all the quarterbacks, you take away the media agenda and propaganda and the hype, you look at Garrett Nussmeier and the body of work, and he's probably your most qualified NFL quarterback going into the season. Like, if you look at how the season ended, what's coming back next year, he's above the Carson Becks. He's above Mateer, who's coming to Oklahoma, and is going to be a curve for him, adjustment curve for him. You look at somebody that has it set up to be successful from week one all the way to the gauntlet of your schedule is Garrett Nussmeier. He did it this year. He did it last year at times when he had to take snaps. So I think he's the guy right now that's in the front runner. What's up, Zach? How you feeling? So we got. I say the list starts here, man. Garrett Nussmeier is definitely top 5. We talk about the young man, and I'm not going to put Nico up there. I think he's just a interesting one to watch. That if he's not top 5, he's right there on the outside looking in. We talked about Sam Levitt. We said other names, but Sam Levitt is the one that I believe proven right now coming back is one of your top 5s. You know, sure. And there's questions around all of these candidates that we're putting in, like, how does he operate without Scatterboo at running back, taking a lot of the pressure off of him, right? So that's an interesting conversation. But the body of work, it matches also. The stats are there, not high in turnover rate. You know, touchdown to interception rate is right where you want it. And coming into his second full year, or is this his second full year as a starter, or is it third for Sam Levitt?
This is I think he started at Michigan State the year before. I'm not sure. I'm not positive, but it feels like he did.
Yeah. So I mean, they coming in with a lot of quality experience. You look at that Garrett Nussmeier, you look at Sam Levitt. These are guys that are coming in with a lot of quality experience.
No.
And you don't disregard some of the things that they've been through as far as quality tested and competition. One guy in the SEC, Scatterboo in the CFP playoff expansion, going toe to toe with a team like Texas, and I mean they handle business.
Let me ask you a question there, though. Since you brought up Texas, do you believe in the Arch Manning hype?
I do. I don't think he's the best quarterback coming into this season, but I do believe in the hype. I think as long as there's a solid offensive line around him, and solid offensive lines in today's era of college football is, if I can get 3 solid guys and one guy that's going to be okay, I could work around. A great quarterback can work around having a one spot weakness in the offensive line. And Archie Manning, I think he's going to have to do that early in the season. With Texas, a lot of their games on the road this season too. A lot of their big games on the road this season too. So
yeah,
I believe the hype, skill set wise, he's there. How it carries over to wins and losses. Like I said this earlier, I don't think you weigh a quarterback's skill level on wins and losses. What he does in those wins and losses. Now, I don't think Archie Manning will be the reason why Texas takes a lot of defeats, a few of the games they're going to lose next year. I don't think he's going to be the reason why.
You don't think he's going to be the reason why? I think that if anything, the problem with Arch for me is that they're replacing 4 of their 5 linemen, and it matters. I don't care what you say, it matters. They talked about that a lot with Oklahoma. We saw that with all the injuries and things like that happened with OU, it certainly mattered whenever your O-line wasn't up to speed. I think this is the same thing that's going to happen there. Do I think that he's good? Absolutely, I think he's good. I think that Arch, there's a reason why. I mean, it's not just because his name is Manning. It's because he has the tools that the Mannings have. You know what I mean? So I would say that before I say anything else. Do I think he wins the Heisman like Bevo's bodyguard says? Hell
no. No, and you
Hell
know
no.
what? I don't think he wins the Heisman only because I think next year the Heisman is going to be another skill position award. You get what I'm saying? Outside of the quarterback room, I really do. I see you see the game changing to make it more exciting for the wide receiver, the running back, the defensive back. Like Travis Hunter winning the Heisman this year, we won't see another dual side, like both sides of the ball player do it like that. But I guarantee you, wide receivers will start to get a lot more of a nod for most valuable player with this being a space game. You got wide receivers literally being game changers from multiple positions on the field, running back, wide receiver, lining up at the quarterback position. You know, it's just different, a different level and a different style of game that's being played. It's going to be hard to see the quarterback position continue to dominate the Heisman voting. But like I said, Arch Manning, I believe the hype. Does it transfer into a 10-2 regular season for Texas next season? No, I don't think so. Too
No.
many pieces. But does he play good enough to keep his name relevant in a lot of your quarterback talks and the powers to be of college football, where Texas will be? Will he be the reason a lot of Texas success comes next year? Yes, I do believe that, and it's because he's really what do you bring back like concrete that you can depend on
Right.
other than Archie Manning on that side of the ball?
Listen, they do have they have a good receiving core that's going to be coming back as far as that goes. They've got some players.
Talent. They have
And
unproven
their running
talent
back room
everywhere.
should be even stronger next year because they should be getting some of those guys back that they lost to injury this year too. I think that the biggest problem is, okay, what's going to happen on that offensive line? Is that defense going to be as good? They are losing a lot of guys to the draft. Second year in a row, losing a lot of guys to the draft. You can't just reload there. And no matter, you can't reload anywhere whenever you're losing that many guys back to back.
So the question is, Jason, is he in our top 5? We got Garrett Nussmeier. I think we're good with Sam Levitt being in our top 5. I don't think Archie Manning is in my top 5. Top 10 maybe, but not top 5.
He's not in my top 5. No, I don't think he'd be in my top 5. He's going to be up there. I don't think he's too far away.
6'7", 6'7" for me.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, definitely. Who is your top 5? Let's just give out your top 5. Who do you like?
Okay, in no particular order, and I'm gonna just kind of go with my gut feeling here. Like I said, I like Garrett Nussmeier coming in as a top 5 QB. I like Sam Levitt. I like DJ Lagway breaking through with Florida. I really think Billy Napier is on to something in that offensive side of the ball together. They've always had athletes on the offensive side. I like DJ Lagway in that top 5. Let me go out to the West Coast and put my boy. I'm struggling with this because I like what Cole Klubnik was showing at Clemson, but I don't think Clemson is going to turn a curve and really dial into making him a feature for their offense. I think he has the skill set, but I don't think they're going to. And it's just a Dabo Sweeney mindset thing that I believe if he's not having a Deshaun Watson or a Trevor Lawrence, he's not going to allow it to really be an offensive centric team. You get what I'm saying? So that's what will make me. But people are going to laugh when I say this. I like Miller Moss going to Louisville, and that high speed, high rate offense is not necessarily air raid, but Miller Moss going to Louisville, and I forget the OG coach's name. His son is there. What's his name?
Man, if
What's
you
the
hadn't
coach?
asked, I'd have it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's there. It's there. Petrino.
No, it's not Petrino.
It's not Petrino?
No, it's damn it, he was at Purdue. He's a damn good coach. A damn good coach. So
Not
shit.
Petrino. He's running this Petrino system, y'all. I can't. But anyways, the Miller Moss from USC. I like him going to Louisville. I think the stats will show like he will be top 5. They're going to spread that ball around. You look at the transfer wide receivers. He is going to be a name that's going to be like, are y'all looking over here? And he will have a year. Miller Moss will have a year that's going to be top 5 quarterback. And then
Jeff Brom is who you're thinking of, and Jeff Brom is one of the best offensive minds.
Right there. Yes, no. Jeff Brom, because he took that the Petrino offensive the scheme and literally has just made it the space RPO we want to see in today's game. He's made it the space RPO. and he's not throwing it 40 yards down the field every play. It's literally you got crosses everywhere. And
Yep.
you take a guy like Miller Moss, who's probably not had the best protection at USC. Let's be for real. You probably not had the best offensive line. You look at his skill set, he's going to be in the top 5. And then number 5 for me, you can throw a guy a healthy Eli Holston. I think you could throw a healthy Eli Holston. I think the injury really messed up his season. You
Right.
put John Mateer right there, number 5. Guys like that. Nico, who's going to be, like I said, third year under Heupel. I think if I take those 3 names right there, I think Nico has the chance to really turn the curve, and it won't result in a lot of wins. Like Professor said earlier, I don't think it'll result in a lot of wins, but Nico's going to be like, we're going to look at him and be like, okay, this is the hype. This is what the hype was about. I think this year it turns on for him. So those are my top 5.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to put Miller Moss in the top 5, but I'm with you on
That's my dark horse top 5.
Yeah, Garrett Nussmeier. I believe he's probably coming in. You have to expect that he's going to get some stuff done there. I also like Mateer to be a top 5 guy as well. We'll get right with you there. I'll have you right in, Professor. And then Sam Levitt as well. And DJ Lagway. But I'm going to tell you, somebody that we haven't talked about in here, but he goes with a guy that does really well with quarterbacks. And they were much better with him, Jaden Maivia at USC. I think that he's got an opportunity. He's a stud. He can play, he can run the ball, he can throw the ball, and he's going to fit Lincoln Riley's system. I kind of hate picking a Lincoln Riley quarterback. I do, but I'm going to tell you, I think he's right there.
Yeah, and you also look at it situation. Lincoln Riley getting another semi-developed quarterback. It's I don't know, man. I just feel like Miller Moss was handicapped. Like we've been seeing, and I think me and you have been saying this for a while now. I think Miller Moss has been handicapped by a lot of oh, there you go. I see you working. He was handicapped by Lincoln Riley and this offense. They just didn't have an offensive line to really go along with what he wanted to do. But in games where they were just clicking, man, it's like he looked like a top 5 quarterback. So I like Miller Moss as a dark horse. I look at the body of work and not the strongest arm, but he can have I want to say Bo Nix type success. Going into this year. I look at I know somebody in the chat was talking about Diego, my fault. Somebody was in the chat talking about Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. I don't think he has as much success next year, being that he's known now. Like we see it all the time in pro and amateur athletics. Somebody comes on the scene and surprises everybody year 1, right? Johnny Manziel. And then you turn around, he wins the Heisman that first year, surprises everybody. Then next year, he has 1 or 3 games, where he just dominates. Then when he's playing against quality competition, quality coaching, he's a no-show. He's riding the hype from last year, So I think that's what happens with Diego coming into this year. It's a quality guy, but next level quarterback, just don't see it being like a thing for him next year. And it's being like the GOAT. He's going to make plays. He's going to be exciting to watch, of course, but I just don't see him being a top 5 quarterback next year. He'll be in that 11, 12 quarterback, top 15 rank maybe, but not top 5, top 10.
Okay. Professor, do you have a top 5 for us?
Yeah, I not in any specific order. I'm just going to run with, kind of the guys that we talked about. I'm going to go ahead, throw the Arizona State quarterback definitely in there. They're getting their best pass catcher back. That kid's a stud. They don't play in a league with elite defenses. And I know you were talking USC. I'm going to tell you what happened. I think USC kind of ran into the buzzsaw of Big Ten football. I think it's worked in the past with other defenses. I don't think the scheme that they're trying to run necessarily is really going to work in the Big Ten.
That's that handcuff that I was talking about with Miller Moss. I feel like they really took away from him. So I like that. I like that point.
Okay.
What do we think? What do we think Jackson Arnold is going to do? I know you talk about a guy that had, like, you see glimpses of it, just couldn't get it figured out. I mean, and I know that the quarterback coaching there at Oklahoma was not great this last year. Do we think he can make a resurgence and maybe save his career?
No.
You don't think so at all?
No, I don't. I got to tell you, I watched the guy with nobody in the backfield kicking the ball off of his knee in times that all they got to do is just protect it at that moment. I watched him do it all year long. I'm a believer that I'm one of those guys that I believe that either you got it or you don't got it. And when I'm saying that, I'm talking about up here in the head. Making mistakes is one thing, but there's a totally different deal whenever nobody's around you for you to turn the ball over, throw the ball away. And we've seen him do that more times than not. I think it was clear he didn't want to compete. I think he was looking over his shoulder from day one that Michael Hawkins even got there. And I just don't think he was that dude. And I don't think that there's a lot of guys that either you are or you're not. To me, an Oklahoma quarterback that is that guy is the one that when the pocket breaks down, you get better. We didn't see that out of Jackson Arnold. And I'll tell you one thing, if you got Hugh Freeze over there screaming at him the way that he was screaming at his quarterback last season, he's going to go into a shell without a doubt. I don't know what just happened with the professor, but what do you think about him? Do you believe that he's got a chance to be good?
I really think Jackson Arnold is he's in a bad situation going to Auburn. There's so much talent, young talent, wide receivers there. There's the running back room looks nice, but who's going to block for him? But the thing going for Jackson Arnold, if anybody's going to pull something out of they and really do some, it's definitely going to be Hugh Freeze. Like if somebody's going to surprise college football and be 8-1 going into week 10 or week 11 of the college football season with a guy who has as much talent, and I hate to say this, being who I am and what I'm about and what is in my blood, right, Jason? You know I'm sick right now.
Yeah.
Jackson Arnold might look like a top 5 quarterback next season under Hugh Freeze. There's a lot of wide receivers in that room that I personally know, and there's some dogs, man. And when I say these young boys, they're excited about having Arnold at Auburn. It can be a blessing or a bust type year for Auburn and this offense.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, they have wide receivers of guys that I'm super high on that haven't even really played. Bryce Kane is Kadarius Toney 2.0. Malcolm Simmons is an absolute stud from the Freeze 4 wide receiver class. And then they go and do it again. I mean, they are getting the best talent in Alabama right now.
They are.
You go look at the recruiting classes 2 years in a row.
I get it.
At some point, it's going to come to a tipping point. Hugh Freeze is going to make it work at Auburn, and they're going to go absolutely crazy, and nobody's going to know what hit him except for the guys that follow recruiting. Or 2, he's going to get fired, and all that talent's going to leave in the portal.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I really believe that's where Auburn is, and I think Arnold might be in the wrong time for that. You get what I'm saying? I don't think Arnold handles, like Jason said, I don't think he handles the pressure of that hard coaching. I don't think he handles it very well. Even back in his high school days, man, it was like he had a staff that really catered to him. He really did, and that's not a bad thing until you get to a space.
Man, that's the whole point I'm making.
That's not a bad thing until you get to a space where you need to really check a quarterback's reality. Like, no, it's not okay. You're going to hit the bench if you don't fix this. And Hugh Freeze is not going to hold that back from him. He's not going to do that. He's not going to play around. He's not going to, what they call it, play the radio. My intel says if Arnold struggles in the spring, there will be a lot of questions going into the fall. I don't think he handles it very well. Auburn is on the road a lot again this season, right? In a lot of big games. As a matter of fact, 2 of their big games, they actually get to have them at home. Arnold against Georgia at home. I think they actually have Georgia at home this year at Jordan Hare. That'll be a telltale to what he's going to look like as far as pressure. I don't think Georgia's going to be good. Just the pressure behind the game.
I got something for you real quick on that. His first game in the SEC is in Norman against that defense that knows that they're going to get after his ass. he is on the menu for Oklahoma. Now, don't get me wrong. I agree with you about Hugh Freeze and scheming and the guys that they got coming in there. But I'm going to tell you this. These guys are licking their chops about getting after this guy. And for him to come into a situation, he's going to get booed. There's going to be a lot of things that aren't going to go his way right away. I don't know that he makes it out of that game if he is the starting quarterback coming in. That's if he is. But I would just tell you, I think that's going to you'll know a lot about him after that game. No doubt about it.
Right.
Yeah, I think that Jackson Arnold's never had a plethora of Ferraris to throw to, and that's what they have. And I'm going to say this. I don't think the one game is really going to be. I understand the spring. I think he's going to light it up in the spring. I think they're going to cater to him. They're going to get him. I mean, listen. With Jackson, you gotta kind of make sure everything's on the up and up and his ego and everything. I think the kid can go out and absolutely sling it. He's done it. It's just can he get over some of the dumb mistakes? But you got to understand the kid didn't have a lot of starting reps. We talk about that. It was like him being a true freshman.
They were talking about him though in the spring, in the close practices and stuff like that he was not handling well. Having a quarterback competition was part of it. He was looking over his shoulder early. I think when guys look over their shoulder, that's a lot to get over with no matter what. I'm not saying that he can't. I'm saying that it doesn't happen very often. That's all I'm going to tell you. Either you've got it up there or you don't have it up there. And sometimes I don't think he had it up there. I'm just telling you, I don't think he did.
We thought the same thing about Bo Nix.
Completely wrong. I could be completely wrong. I know. Bo Nix came in and played well.
He played very good.
He went to Oregon.
Yeah, and I think Bo Nix don't get enough credit for what he actually did while he was at Auburn in the SEC during a time where, I mean, they weren't winning in recruiting, man. They weren't winning in, I mean, the portal was the thing that had just got there the year he left. So I for Bo Nix, I mean, didn't have a system that really catered to him either. Like, I mean, they played for him. They played the system for him, but it didn't cater to him or his skill sets. And you saw what happened. But Arnold steps into this situation, like I said, and Jason said something, bro. If he's the starter, because there's a lot of talking heads at Auburn that believe Deuce Knight might have a realistic. There's this quarterback class.
Talking about freshmen at other places. Why not there?
Right, 25 class of quarterbacks. There may be 4 or 5 guys right now in this 25 class that are on campus now or going to be on campus in the fall. These staffs and these coordinators and analysts around these young men, they believe you only need 12 to 15 practices to get a guy like him ready to go into week 1 against Baylor or South Alabama. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's people, and you can get some real trajectory and evaluation done in those first 6 weeks of a quarterback on campus, dialed in with the new practice schedule and the amount of time that they get to spend in the facilities. Man, it can be crazy good starting the season off for a transition year. I think Auburn's in their true transition year. This is the year to see where their bottom is. And if a guy like Deuce Knight comes in and has any type of success early on, Jackson Arnold might not even be at the helm with his inconsistencies and inability to handle pressure. So,
and that's what I'm saying. If it turns into a real competition, he's that's what I'm saying. Can he get over it and go out there and actually compete? Because when he heard guys like, Gabe Ikard talking about that Michael Hawkins looked better than Caleb Williams at that point in the springtime. He was hearing everything. This is a guy that hears everything. He's got rabbit ears about that stuff. He pays attention to what he sees on social media, even though he thinks he doesn't. He says he doesn't. I mean, I'm just telling you. I would just tell you that it's. I don't know, man. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I say absolutely not. I wouldn't even have him in my top 25.
Jackson Arnold's definitely gonna be top 15, bro. Like let's not. I mean, too many weapons out there. He literally has to crap
weapons.
He has to crap the bed and not be on the field.
This guy got done saying he may not even be on the field.
That's what I'm saying. If he's on the field, if he's on the field, he's going to be top 15.
Yeah.
If he does not crap the bed, I mean, literally all he has to do is not throw a turnover. He has weapons. Like Jackson Arnold has 2 or 3 receivers right now at Auburn that Turner 3-yard slant or a 3-yard zig route into a freaking home run hit. You know, that's the type of skill sets he had. And in the running back room, we know Hugh Freeze wants to get the perimeter run game established, man. And he wants to stretch defenses left and right. A guy like Jackson Arnold that could really hurt you with his legs. You saw what he did to us in the Oklahoma game, the Alabama-Oklahoma game in Norman. You get him in a big game against Georgia at home, against Alabama at home, and get his momentum going, get his
He only
confidence
threw the
going like
ball
Hugh
10
Freeze.
times in that game is why he
Hey,
bro.
hey, when it's working and you're able to use it, I feel like Hugh Freeze could have set Jackson up in better
I'm gonna
passing
tell you the week
situations than
before that, though. I'm just going to tell you about the week before that when they're at Missouri in Columbia. They have the lead with 2 minutes left, and earlier in the game too, Deion Burks is screaming at him to throw the effing football down the field, and he was like shaking his head no on the sidelines. They were showing it. Then
hey.
2 minutes left, you got a lead. Nobody's even about to tackle him, and he just throws the fucking ball away on a fumble that gets scooped and scored, and there we are with the tie.
But
You helping my point.
No,
You help
that
my
lost
point.
the
He
game.
played
He
great
had-
at home. He
he
played
had
great at
no-
home and played horrible on the road.
he had no quarterback coach either. I mean, it's development.
That's a fact too. That's a fact too. You're right.
I'm going to say this. You got Baylor, Ball State, and South Alabama before Oklahoma. We'll
Mhm.
know. We'll know. We'll know by then. We'll know by the Oklahoma game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Temple. Never mind. I'm gonna leave it. All right. So there, he's in your 5. Then he's in your top 5.
No, he's just a dark horse I'm going to watch for sure. I think.
Yeah,
Who-
his
top 5.
Jackson Arnold is kind of like my Miller Moss. He's that dark
Okay.
horse that it
Well,
could
mine was
click.
Jaden Maivia. He'd be like
Yeah.
that guy that could be there. Who? Give us your 5 again, there, Cody. Who'd
So
you
I
say?
got the Arizona State kid. I got the LSU kid. Obviously DJ Lagway.
Mhm.
And then Mateer. And then I think, I hate to say it, unfortunately, as long as it is, we'll know early spring. I think Carson Beck could have a resurgence at
Okay.
Miami. I think they're going to scheme the offense around him, but we don't know about the injury. So don't hold my feet to the fire there.
say?
I found that offensive, sir.
Hey, so like we had dark horses, Jason. Well, Jason, where's your top 5? Give us your top 5.
My
You haven't
top
given us.
5 is pretty much it's Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, Lenore. No. I have Jaden Maivia, Levitt, and DJ Lagway.
Okay, so and these are names that you look at on 3. They have them like 6, 8. I think Lagway made top 5 on 3. Yeah, he made number 3. Levitt is number 1 on 3. So there's something there. I think the question amongst us is without Scatterboo, right? What does that look like? How does he return? Big catcher coming back. You got a lot of your receiver production. Maybe not the big numbers, but a lot of your production is coming back. So I think Levitt's in a good position. Dark horses, I've heard Carson Beck. I said Miller Moss. We all believe Arch Manning is right there on the outside. Top 5, right there, 6, 7 looking in. No bias, all the disrespect for Texas fans aside.
I like
think Arch is-
Arch. I gotta wait to spring. I gotta see it. I gotta see all of it, right?
Bro, he won the Elite 11 and we keep talking about he had no QB coach. What does that have to do with
Elite 11
playing?
is nothing.
Elite 11 doesn't have anybody running at him and trying to breathe down his neck.
Right. Like nobody plays 7-on-7 2-hand touch in the college football level. Like that doesn't win games. That's an evaluation platform for us to look at the mechanics, consistency, small things that let you know, okay, that's a quarterback. Not that's a quarterback that can go into this system and understand it and win games. That's not what the Elite 11 does. They come together, they put a variety of different concepts and things together and see how guys interpret it. And you don't have to interpret it for 80 or 60 to 70 plays consecutively. You're going to get 24 to 40 reps in the day's work in those camps. So, yeah, stop with that.
I think there's always a kid that we're not talking about that's gonna, pop up. a kid that maybe has been sitting there waiting his turn at a program that we it could be the Kansas State kid could figure it out.
Hey,
Avery, right? I think
yeah,
his name is.
Avery
That could
Johnson.
that kid could really
He's
figure it out.
definitely he would definitely be right around the top of that list as
But
well for me. I like
but you
Avery
don't know. But you
ton.
don't know, right?
Yeah.
You just look at the consistency around him, though. The culture around him. You expect a kid like Avery Johnson he's going into his third year as a starter there. He didn't start all his freshman year, but when he came in, that's when you saw Kansas State turn the curve. They
Yeah.
turned the corner. He got injured that freshman, and then he come back this year, and you see how they started out, and they kind of just peaked. I feel like a lot of teams just peaked. You get the offseason to work on those small things that he was missing, right? As a young starter. Coming to this third year, Avery Johnson is right there. Another name I want to throw at you guys that I'm excited about him only because he ended last season on a high note, and that's going to be the kid over at TCU that just got to TCU, Josh Hoover.
Mhm.
I think TCU has an opportunity to resurge their offense this year. Is he a top 10 dark horse that might slide into 6, 7, 8? TCU has weapons. They just didn't have a quarterback last year, a consistent quarterback play. And then again, I think Eli Holston coming back to Pitt might be something interesting to keep our eyes on. He started off very strong, was top 3 quarterback through week 7, right? Then just fell off after that. So would love to see what that turns into. We haven't said Drew Aller over at Penn State. What's you all's feels around there, guys?
I just don't think he has weapons.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Drew Aller. I think he's got a big arm. I think he's an NFL type quarterback. I don't, and I'll tell you what, I like Andy Kotelnicki as much as I like anybody as far as coordinators are concerned too. He looked better. I mean, but you can't judge them getting to the semifinals so much because they played SMU and freaking Boise State. So I don't know what you have there. Unless they add somebody on the outside that's going to be a big time threat. They lost that tight end. And I mean, that guy was a straight dog.
They lost their whole offense.
They've
Minus,
got-
I think they got a couple running backs coming back that are NFL caliber backs, but it's just like he's gonna have really nobody to throw to that we know of.
Right. I just have a hard time believing that he's going to really get there because you've got to have dynamic receivers and they don't get them at Penn State for whatever reason. They haven't been getting them. So, I mean, you're the recruiting guy, you know it. I haven't seen it at all. I will say that love the Avery Johnson bring out. They've got some players there. He's in his second year and with a really good a guy that's a hell of a coordinator there as well. I like Avery Johnson to be in the mix for a lot of awards at the end of the season. He's a hell of a football player.
As long as he stays healthy, man. Same
No
thing.
doubt.
And like I said, I think DJ Lagway is right there at the top, but Avery Johnson gives you that same type of feel for Kansas State. Not necessarily DJ Lagway skill set or anything. I don't want anybody to confuse that, but just the feel.
Dante Moore would be another one I would ask you a question about. Go ahead.
Oregon?
Yep. Oregon.
I just don't trust what on the other side of the ball what it
But
does
Will
for him.
Stein, though, but Will Stein has had 2 guys as finalists the last 2 years.
They got the best wide receiver coming in too, true
Yeah.
freshman,
Yeah.
Decorium Moore, and we saw what he did against in the All American game. I'm gonna say this: my biggest thing with Dante Moore is he's gonna be prosperous in that Will Stein offense. My biggest question is with him is when the lights turn on, can he do it? When it's all on him, is he going to be able to do it? They got weapons, just like Auburn, all over the place. They recruit extremely well. The offense caters to, it's a lot of dink and dunk. But and I'm high on Dante Moore, but again, it's a guy I'm gonna have to watch the spring game and see it. There's a lot of guys. Arch Manning gonna have to watch the spring game. Dylan Raiola gonna have to watch the spring game. I think Dylan Raiola's biggest problem is he again runs himself into pressure. These kids,
Yes.
they think that they can do this at Big Ten and SEC level, and they just can't. I'm all about. So you look at a guy like Jaden Daniels at LSU. He did not run side to side. When the pocket opened and all the wide receivers were covered,
Boom.
he slashed. That's called slashing. That's not running around trying to be Patty Mahomes or whoever. There's a big difference. That's taking what's available to you, and then he was athletic enough to do the extra stuff, right? I don't know if Dylan Raiola, I see the arm talent, I see everything. I don't know if he's going to be developed in a way at Nebraska and him not having to be Superman all the time to where he's actually going to put together game after game after game after game. It's my only question with Raiola.
And that's a lot of that is what's around him, like you said, man. And like I think it traditionally at Nebraska, you saw them want to lean on the run game, but that's a phase that you have to supplement your run game with like a 65-70% pass game. Like that's where the game of college football is in order to really keep up, because defense on the field, they're running left and right, 67 plays. That's not going to put you in good position. You got to be able to spread. And Raiola has those skill sets, but Nebraska is not one of those schools that's able to pull in the elites that's going to highlight those. So you have to kind of dumb it down and simplify it and keep it in the box. That's going to be his thing. Can he be good enough without being a superhero? Can he be great to allow that offense to be? And I think that's what Mac Jones did. You know, when he finally became a starter, you had all those weapons around you. He just did the simple stuff at a high rate so good that people gave Mac Jones more credit than what he really deserved. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really had everything you needed around you, and you just didn't have to mess it up. You just had to keep the car on the road.
Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask, another one was just like that.
Man, it's so many. I mean, even look at how Spencer Rattler handled himself at South Carolina that last year, man. There were a lot of assets that if they didn't have a quality quarterback there, you would have never known what South Carolina was doing. But Spencer Rattler comes in, he buys in, his skill set fits the system. You start seeing guys get exposure because of him doing the simple things. And when he didn't do it, it made that team look irrelevant. But it also set up an opportunity for a guy like Lenore Sellers to be recruited, because now you see what's happening at South Carolina. You get Lenore Sellers to kind of buy in. This could be a turnaround year for him, too. So we bring up a lot of names, man. Dante Moore is one that I knew going at Oregon there would be a lot of.
I like Dante, man. I
like the fact that there isn't a lot of hype around him because of the very thing you said, Professor. When the lights come on, he all he has to do is play now. Like, there's nobody expecting Dante Moore to be the Heisman quarterback because he's at Oregon.
The best thing too is they play a lot of late night games, so he's not going to be the featured primetime guy. And everybody is obviously making fun of Raiola. Listen, the biggest problem with Nebraska is when they do have a breakout star on offense, he leaves. He goes in the portal and gets paid and goes to a better program. And that they got to figure that out too. Or it's just never going to work for Nebraska. They're never going to be what they were in the, I don't know. I don't even know if I was born yet when they were good. But yeah, there's a lot of guys. Reed with the Aggies. He's got to figure out the quarterback position. He's a great running back, but he's got to figure out the quarterback position.
What about Simmons at Ole Miss?
Huh?
What about the backup QB at Ole Miss?
Like him, the lefty.
Oh,
really
that kid. Listen, he's 17.
Yeah.
He's 17 years old.
Man, when he got in against Georgia, he was flinging it, bro.
That kid.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. When see, and we're all SEC. You know, we are locked into the SEC. All of us are teams, our homers. We're SEC teams, and we're all SEC teams that have to catch Ole Miss in those sneaky spots. You always catch Ole Miss in these sneaky spots. And a guy like Simmons will be one that makes a Heisman campaign off of an Alabama victory, off of a Florida victory, off of an Oklahoma victory. So I think Simmons is one guy. Jackson Dart was electrifying, but Simmons is more of a composed Jackson Dart with a bigger arm.
I like him, man.
A bigger arm and better with his legs too. Better with his legs. So I think he might surge onto the scene. Lane Kiffin does what Lane Kiffin does, man.
I'm gonna say this. The thing about Ole Miss is it takes them a couple years to stack that roster. I don't know if they have the talent around Simmons for him to light it up right away. Listen, I know the offense is going to be good, but you watch Old Miss, they're a team that it takes 2-3 years for them to stack the roster, then they peak. I know that they do the transfer portal pretty well. They go in JUCO unconventionally and get some guys. They pick guys out of smaller schools. My question is, year one, if you let Simmons, I think you build up to Simmons, right? I think you let him get some playing time this year, and then you really go hard on wide receivers and running backs this year and the portal going into next year, so he can have a bunch of Ferraris around him, right? Because if that guy's got some pass catchers, watch out, he's gonna light it up in the SEC.
I'm gonna say this: if he was a true freshman this year,
Mhm.
I agree with you. He's going into his 3rd year under Lane Kiffin, or you get what I'm saying. This is
Yeah.
like his 3rd off-season program, like learning the
But
system.
he's like 17 or 18.
He'll be 19 when the
19
season
now?
starts. This
Okay.
yeah, he's going to like literally that early enrollment at 17. I think 17 early enrollment. He's a redshirt sophomore right now.
Yep.
He's a redshirt sophomore, so he's going into his 3rd year. Lane Kiffin, I think this is when he's been kind of hiding from us. He's been kind of hiding from us and kind of was forced to use him last year,
Mhm.
show some glimpses, put him in those moments because portal, we know what Kiffin is doing in the portal. Recruiting, they've really just kind of getting Cunningham back. You know that the 5-star out of Alabama. There's a realistic plan to have him. There's some guys from the state of Alabama as far as wide receivers that I know of that are going to Ole Miss. If these guys can turn corners, and I mean quick, you got a young group of guys, and this is becoming a younger game at the college level. Like, how do you get younger at the college level? Freshmen coming in at 17, 18 years old, and they're the ones impacting your team, being the difference makers. So it wouldn't be crazy to see a 2nd, 3rd year guy like Simmons in the system have young guys who just going to be out there and be told to go and win in space and have success. I think that's going to buy good for him. And then the offensive line, they restocked in the portal too. They're going to have some good quality competition at the O line. I think it's set up for Simmons to be one of those guys that kind of sneak up on us this season.
I will say this about Old Miss though, the biggest thing is you gotta hit on the transfer portal, guys.
Yep.
Because if you don't, you're gonna be not as bad as FSU, but you're gonna have a year like FSU,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the
Well,
gamble you're
especially
taking.
when you win as deep in the transfer portal as you did last year, and then they're all pretty much gone, and it doesn't sound like they are spinning the same way this year. So I think it's going to be, I don't know. I think it's a tough year. I like the kid. I really like the kid. Do I think that he's going to be right away one of the best players in the country? I'm not sure. We're going to have to wait and see kind of how that all turns out. But again, and I would also say, and really Flawed, thanks for coming in and your input into this as well. I don't want to jump out of here without saying Lenore Sellers is that dude when it comes to athleticism. If he can
Agree.
throw the ball at all, they're going to be nasty.
Agree.
They are going to be nasty.
Agree.
I don't believe in Shane Beamer, but I do like this kid.
Yeah, it's if they can put the weapons around them. Again, it's and they are defensively definitely they are spending some money. South Carolina once got a taste of being somewhat relevant, and they seem to like it, and they seem to be ponying up. That kind of like Ole Miss. I watch Ole Miss go very, very, very heavy next year in the portal and the high school. They're going to be probably, I bet they're going to be top 8 or top 10, which they usually don't recruit like that. They usually, 15, 20. But watch them next year going into Simmons' junior year. They're going to go get some guys.
And you're absolutely right. Offensively, I think they got a bunch of guys right now, especially young guys, South Carolina, that they're going to do. This should be a production by committee type year for this roster, and that might vie well for a guy like Lenore Sellers. Get what I'm saying? Somebody that's going to be leaned on it's going to be put on him to carry this offense for the most part. But you got Juju McDowell is coming back. Their senior running back. He's eligible to come back for a 5th year. Did they lose Raheem? They lost Rocket Sanders to the draft. Okay, so you lose a guy like Sellers is going to be leaned on. I think he's He has the size to take the punishment, but by committee, wide receiver room, tight end room, he's going to have enough weapons, enough options to spread it out. And he's a smart player. I think that's where people discount him for. He's not making a lot of mistakes early in his career with the opportunities he's given. I think you're going to see him turn a corner early, knowing that a lot of this is going to be on his shoulders. And like you all said, Lenore Sellers is in there, man. He's in that top 5 for me. Right outside the top 5. I just want to see how he handles not having the amount of weapons as some of the other top 5 guys that we have in the top 5.
Yeah, and on Sellers again, a thicker guy, a thicker build. Listen, I don't like my quarterbacks shredded up like freaks like Anthony Richardson. I think that causes, and I'm, you
agree.
guys might call me crazy. I think when you got a little fat on you, you got a little padding, and you can take some punishment. Lenore looks like he's not fat. I'm not calling him fat, but he's got some fluff to him. He can take some punch. I don't want my quarterbacks looking like bodybuilders. That's why I was kind of off on Milroe. He's pretty shredded, right?
That boy look like a linebacker, don't he?
Yeah, I don't like that. I want my quarterback a little fluff on him. And Sellers is going to do that. My biggest thing is with South Carolina. I think they do everything for him very well. If they can get just one guy, right, one wide receiver to really go off, I think they can win a bunch of games, and it's really going to help his stock.
Okay. No, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think he's going to be really, really good. Real quick, Michael Hargate. Hey, Jason, good Wednesday morning to you. The $5 super chat given to us through Venmo, which I definitely appreciate. They don't get 40% of these when they come through there. Check in our description here. Actually, it's in the other description, but I will pop it up there. If you want to hit the Cash App or the Venmo, we appreciate that. We'll have that in there in the live stream description as well. Make sure that you do the same for Coach Smook. He's got it in there in his description as well. And he's got it. The Bot Ricks will tell you how to send him a super chat.
Yeah, Bot Ricks showed up for work today. I see you over there, Bot Ricks, out there in the chat. Somebody, Bevo said Malik Murphy. I'm past Malik Murphy, bro. I think he's
seen enough.
Yeah, and he's another Joe Milton for me.
You think so?
Yeah, man. I really do. And I'm not saying he's trash. I just don't think he's of the elite. He is what it is. Like I look at what Malik Murphy does, and I give him the same type of evaluation I gave Jalen Milroe coming into the season. You had an opportunity to really take the next step, and Jalen Milroe just was inconsistent. Some days he looked like he took the next step, and then you wake up, you literally roll over in the same game, and it looks like he hasn't been at the college level for 2-3 years at that point. So I look at Malik Murphy the same way. Great talent there, just got to get the consistency there. And that's what I think Ty Simpson is dealing with, consistency. There's staffs who look at Ty Simpson in one play, and they think they have a bead on what he can do at the quarterback position, but then he turns around for the next 4 or 5 plays, in practice, in controlled environment, and just craps the bed. So it's going to be, like I said, this year, college football quarterback position, there will be a lot of names thrown out, being said, and accumulated stats, because NIL portal, playing time, reps, college football playoff 12-team playoff, extended schedules, 16 games in a year, like that's going to matter with how you put players on the field. You give them opportunities and everything, and you got to find a good. Look, man, I'm telling y'all, I'm looking at Jason working in the background, y'all. He having way too much fun with this platform, and I'm kind of jealous because wait until I get on my side.
Bro, you can do it now. You're a collaborator. You
know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna mess it up while we live,
right
but you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
We just moved to this too from
man.
EPM.
Yeah. I love it, man. It's the only thing is we've had a couple of issues with it, like what we had earlier. I'm gonna definitely get that under control, but it's got to be a little better. But in the end, look, guys, I would say there's a lot of it's you don't have that surefire top 5. It doesn't feel like to me, and I think that's what I'm hearing from both of you guys as well.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think you've got a bunch of guys that could be. I think you got a bunch of guys that may not. You know
And
what I mean?
there's always going to be one that we're not talking about that's going to show up. It'll be right place, right time, right team, and light it up for sure. There's always one
100%.
cat
Shout
that,
out to Jay from Unfair Sports.
What's up, Jay?
What's up, my guy? Yeah, man. Let's see. But yeah, and as Really says, it's going to be interesting. I think you've got a lot of guys that have a channel, a chance to really kind of jump up and be very, very good. So we'll kind of see how it ends up working out. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I can't wait for it to get here. It's freaking too far away. That's for sure. But
guys, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna break out of here. I gotta get ready, get to it. Y'all know how this boy moves. I appreciate you, Jason, as always, and nice to meet you, my guy, the professor. I like, for real, man. I think this gonna be a crazy upcoming season. I'm gonna be in touch with you guys to get a lot more collabs. I got over there on the Coach Smook Network, we got the Sports and Spades on for every first Friday.
yeah,
And
we got to get on that, man. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for
Jason, that's gonna be so fun, especially for the first Friday in February. It's gonna be fun.
Spades, bro. That's what's up.
Yeah, man. And the people, I don't think nobody's ever done it like this. They can hear it, but they've never done it like this. So next Friday, I would definitely love it, especially with the SEC talk, man, all of the movement, NIL, recruiting. It's gonna be a crazy good night, just relaxed vibes, interactive. Giveaways, all of that stuff will be happening next Friday, the first Friday of every month until we kick off again next season. But yeah, I appreciate it, Jason. And make sure y'all drop likes over here on Jason's channel and share the live stream. If you got clips, make sure you're tagging all of us in it. And of course, continue to support the network, man. We really putting some things together. We collabing, and y'all about to see a crazy off season when it comes to your college football coverage. But if you're looking for some basketball coverage, college basketball, SEC basketball talk, got it covered for you on Coach Smook Network here. And recruiting. Recruiting is huge over on the Coach Smook Network. So definitely check us out. But I appreciate you, Jason.
Hey, man,
Professor.
thanks for coming in as always, brother.
Yes,
Enjoy
sir.
working with you. Enjoy working with you, man. Thanks a lot.
Already. Y'all be easy, man. And
Nice
don't
meeting you.
forget, if y'all see me in the streets, y'all better holler. Put me in the game, Coach Smook. I catch it with y'all.
No doubt. Hey, man,
Uh,
make sure you do that.
yes, sir.
Absolutely. All right, man. Coach Smook from the Coach Smook Network. Make sure you guys get over there, subscribe.